Now, I'm almost sure I've shown you this video before, but bear with me, there's a reason I'm showing it to you again. Speech perception is not just about the sound. There's clearly more to understanding a speaker's motivations, the words they're saying themselves, than just the sound you get in your cochlea. There's more to it. And speech perception is, of course, multimodal. And the biggest contributor, other than sound to speech, is vision. The actual, what you're seeing in the face of the speaker. And so we have to be able to meld together the visual representation of the speaker with the sounds we're hearing that speaker make. And that's called multimodal perception, or audio-visual speech perception. And so this is the McGurk effect, the idea that your vision and your sound have to be melded together in order for you to understand what a speaker is saying. And so, if I just play this to you, you will hear him saying... Ba, 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 ba. Most people hear da, 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 da. Some people hear slightly different things. Da, 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 da. Now, if I turn the sound off, and you just watch his lips... you see him say something other than da, da. His mouth looks more like he's saying ba, ba, or something like that. And so the sound doesn't match the vision in this case. Now, if I get you to listen this time, but close your eyes, don't look at his face, you'll hear something else. Ba. So close your eyes. Ba. We're hearing something different again. And so what we've got here is audio that's sounding one way, visuals that are creating a mouth movement for a different way, and when you put them both together, you hear a third sound. And of course, there are two different things going on. The audio is of him saying da 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 da. The video is of him saying da 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 da. The audio is of him saying ba 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 ba. When you put those two things together, when you do your audio-visual speech perception, they come out to be gaga or something like that. You add the two together, you add ba and da, audio and visual, merge them together, you get gaga. I'll explain how and why that's in a second. But the point is, we're taking a visual stimulus and an auditory stimulus, adding them together to create the perception of speech. We don't just take one or just take the other, unless we've got our eyes closed or we're not watching his lips. We don't just take one or the other, we put them together. And that creates a whole other perception for us. This is an illusion, of course, but in everyday life, putting those two together is very helpful. Of course, it's helpful in a very loud environment. We are not quite sure of what the person is saying to you. They might be shouting to you from the other side of a room. It will help your perception of what the sound is they're producing if they really enunciate the words, move their lips in an exaggerated manner. That might help you perceive exactly what they're saying. You're adding the visual properties of their lip movement to the reduced sound properties or the interfered sound properties of the speech that they're trying to shout at you. Audio-visual speech perception helping you. So why does da and ba end up being ga in the McGurk effect? That's because of these formants and transitions. So the sound, of course, being a vowel, you get steady-state formants associated with that, but we've got a different consonant associated with each of those vowels. We've got him saying ba, ba, so the audio is ba, ba. You've got his lip movements, which were ga, ga, and for some reason, putting those two together, you perceive da, da. And that's because if you mathematically take the graph for ba, take the graph for ba and add that to the graph for ga, you end up with that. So if you look at the transition for BA is upwards and quite large. The transition for GA is downwards and even larger. The sum of those two things is a slightly downward transition towards A, which you perceive to be da. So if you add ba and ga, you end up with da. And that is why the McGurk effect ends up with that strange middle ground between the two possible sounds. So we're showing a link then between vision and speech. A critical link, this idea of audio-visual speech perception, multimodal perception. We have to understand one to fully understand the other. And we can see this in the brain as well. So Valerie Clavert and colleagues used functional imaging to look at lip reading, the actual brain regions involved in the visual properties of the audio part of speech perception, lip reading. And what she did was show people inside the scanner videos of people mouthing numbers, so silent videos of a face mouthing numbers. So that was shown to a person whilst they were lying in the scanner. And all they had to do whilst they were lying in the scanner is say the number in their head that they were seeing the face produce. They were lip reading, essentially, using the visual properties of that person's face to help them figure out the speech that they were trying to make. And it turns out the same parts of the brain are responsible for lip reading as actually hearing the sounds coming out of the lips in the first place. There's a big overlap between the visual part of speech and the audio part of speech. And I think here the purple is parts of the brain involved in, is that speech perception or auditory perception? So the purple indicates the lip reading, the blue indicates auditory perception generally, and you can see in yellow there are patches, relatively large patches, either side of your temporal regions that are involved in the combination of the two. In other words, lip reading, figuring out the audio properties and the visual properties at the same time. So there are parts of the brain given over to combining vision and speech. That would make sense. That's how the McGurk effect is at all possible. This happens to be in a part of the brain called the superior temporal sulcus, or STS. I'll come back to that in a second.